Fuck! Fuck! Fuck!
Oh, you stupid motherfucker!
You're gonna find me dead! I'm gonna kill myself!
Hit the fucking guy! What the fuck is he doing?
I'm gonna be hanging from the bathroom!
They got the
Don't ask me to do nothing! This is nothing!
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Steel Here podcast, where I'm your host, Kevin Adams, alongside my partner in crime, Jersey Jerry. And it's gonna be a fun season coming up here, Jer. The Steelers are doing things that they haven't done in feels like 20 years, man, and dating back to Ben Roethlisberger days when they were on a rookie contract where they could throw money in free agency and flip a lot of rooms. And I mean, it's just been fun every day. It's a new signing, it's a new guy they're bringing in. The entire linebacker room got flipped over. I mean, they're definitely looking at the team and seeing the weaknesses and doing everything they can do to try and fix those things. So, I mean, who stands out? Who's your favorite guy we've signed so far?
There's been a lot, man. Definitely switched over a lot. I really wasn't expecting, especially at the start of free agency, they really weren't doing anything. No. So it to me, I was like, yeah, this is the same old story again. This is, Omar Khan's just going to take it slow and he's not going to make nothing crazy happen. And then boom, within 2.5, 3 weeks, it's like, man, there's 10 different guys on this team now. It's like we haven't seen that in years and years and years with the Steelers. But hey, credit to Khan, man. Credit to Weidl. It seems like they're really trying to beef up that offense and defensive line.
Yep.
For me, I didn't like it at first, but the newest addition, Allen Robinson, I can get behind it because, it was cheap. And that's what you were telling me. I really didn't understand it at first. And, when the news broke, I'm like, this is so stupid. 15 mil for this fucking guy? I don't think so. It's not really a great deal. And then, news came out hey, they just swapped seventh rounders. The Rams ate $10 million of that contract. So essentially, he's paying for $5 million. And if he's not good, he leaves. But I'm starting to think about it a little bit. And, he hasn't played with a good quarterback
in years.
He has
in a long time, man, a long time.
Yes, in a long time, and now he finally has a guy. And listen, I'm really open to saying this now, and I don't really give a fuck who says what. Kenny Pickett's a good quarterback.
Oh yes,
he's a good quarterback. Great, not yet, probably not yet. But
he's gonna be
good right now. Yes, pretty damn good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Now he has another weapon. Now that receiving room has another wide receiver that's a veteran that can help George Pickens, even help Deontay Johnson. People, say, Deontay's been there a little while, which he has, but it's another veteran in the locker room that can really rally the guys around. And, hey, I'm hoping for a really, really good offseason. I'll be honest. Here's a hot take. I think the Steelers have one more move in them.
Another one yet?
I think they have one more move in them. I really, really do.
I mean, a lot of people.
And I don't know if it's going to come draft night or before the draft, but I think there's one more move left.
A lot of people have said that given how cheap this Robinson deal broke out to being for the Steelers, a lot of people were thinking maybe they were clearing a bunch of space in the cap and things of that nature so that they could bring in a big talent. I'm not going to get on the Buda Baker train.
No, that's not happening.
No, that's just
I do not see a world where that happens.
No, that's just too much. But the fact that they were able to work this number down to $5 million for Allen Robinson, everybody knows I'm a Penn State guy. I am a fucking Nittany Lion. So when the news broke that it was Allen Robinson, me, Jerry, our producer Nick, and then our social media clips guy Lucas, we're in a group chat, and Jerry's like, I hate it. And I'm like, what? How can you hate this? This guy was a monster at Penn State. He has insanely good hands. His very good route runner. And lately in his career, he's been shifting to the slot, which is where the Steelers need a slot guy. And everybody was hype on, let's bring Juju back. He's a big body, reliable hands. Okay, well, that's literally Allen Robinson is a similar type of play set as far as what you're going to get out of Juju. Big body, reliable hands, can be in the slot, can still get free releases.
Blocking as well.
Right, he's a great blocker.
Great blocker.
Right.
Top 10 in blocking.
And what do we always say? If you want to be the football team we think the Steelers are going to start to become this year, which if you look at all the signings, we'll run down the list. You had the Nate Herbig, Isaac Somalo. You brought in Braden Fajoko. You brought in big boys that are going to play both offense and defense, because what Jerry and I seem to believe is the Steelers are starting to tip their hand, and they started to do it halfway through last season. They don't want to, be the team that comes out and throws the ball 50 times a game. The Steelers are building a football team to beat those teams that are stacking their rosters with smaller, faster players. The Eagles exposed that if you go heavy big boys on the offensive line, heavy big boys on the defensive line, and you pound the rock, you can both run the ball well, stop the run well, because teams are building these rosters that are made for high-flying offenses. So everyone else is zigging and the Steelers are zagging back to a heavy run game, which if it's successful like the Eagles were, I have no problems with it. I love the philosophy. Yeah. And you look at some of the guys that we brought in, and it looks like it's playing directly to that. So to bring in an Allen Robinson that is a really good blocking wide receiver, I mean, it's huge. All of those plays matter. How often do you see running backs get to the edge and the wide receiver can't finish the block and the cornerback ends up making a stop? Whereas if that wide receiver can finish a block off, it's daylight. It's a ton of daylight for the running back. So an elite blocking wide receiver I love.
And I don't want to put him in the same category as a Kenny Galladay. Sorry, I'm eating these. I'll tell you what, this is, no free ads, but these pickle seeds from this company called Smackin', just great, incredible.
Jerry's fucking ninth inning spitting seeds everywhere here.
Yeah, but anyway, I don't want to put him in the same category as a Kenny Galladay, but he had really bad numbers last year. Really, really bad. But the thing is now, he has a fresh start off of a really bad year and a half, 2 years, I'd say, about 2 years that haven't been really productive. He has a fresh start, a younger offense, a better quarterback. So, you got to realize, he's probably hungry. Mm-hmm. He probably wants to win, mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, this is a good fit for him, I think. Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin, great motivator, great coach. I'm sure he's going to thrive in the Steelers offense. And, I just hope – I know, we said that, the Steelers are going to run the ball a lot, and I hope they do. But at the same time, I would like to see some, some deep passes this year, a lot more different types of plays, because now you got a lot more talent on this team, yep. Especially on the offensive side of the ball. So let's try to start, pushing the ball downfield.
When I say that, if you want to build a roster that mimics the Eagles, you have Andy Weidel in town. Obviously, that's where he had come from, had a helping hand in building that Eagles roster. He obviously knows the formula, but it also requires throwing the ball, pushing the ball downfield. Let's not slight Jalen Hurts. He threw the shit out of the ball last year as well, but it's a lot easier to throw the ball downfield when you have an elite play action, whenever you have a really solid run game, which brings the defenders into the box, you can get over the top. I think one thing that will be useful as far as Allen Robinson is the locker room presence. You're talking about a guy, the Steelers don't really have a veteran presence in the locker room as far as wide receivers are concerned. You could say Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson to me is not ever going to be that kind of loud vocal leader that you might want a guy to be. Allen Robinson's 29. This is 9th season in the NFL. And you mentioned, he didn't have a great season last year. He didn't have a good season. But what's funny is he had 33 catches. Our number 3 and number 4 wide receivers combined had 11. So he still had 3 times the amount of catches.
Wow, yeah.
So you're looking at Miles Boykin and Sims. So that's 11 grabs there, man. So he has the ability to give us a really good weapon at our wide receiver 3. And that's what more can you ask for as far as what the Steelers have done?
Dude, if he can get 65 catches
that's an insane season. If he gets 65, that's a fucking insane season. 50 is about where I would say that's a great year.
But I think I think they're going to use him a lot more than people think.
In the red zone, he could be a really good target because he has the ability to high point a football. And a lot of people think that, oh, he's old and this, and he might not have the most explosion anymore. He might not be the most explosive wide receiver in the league, and that's fine. You don't need insane explosion when you're a slot wide receiver or wide receiver 3, or you're in the red zone. All you have to do is be able to beat the cornerback, get up and over him, and high point the football. And he has the ability to do that. And he's shown it for years. So I said something yesterday. I'm more excited about him being the player that we have to high point the football than I was Chase Claypool. And it's very obvious. We saw Chase Claypool. He has all the tools to have been a wide receiver that could go up and get a ball over cornerbacks or safeties, and he just couldn't do it. However, Allen Robinson is that type of player, and he's proven it his entire career in the NFL. So Allen Robinson, I'm hype as shit for Allen Robinson, but let's look at some of the other guys that we have. So we signed a swing tackle, LaRaven Clark. So we let I want to say Scott walk. He was our swing tackle. LaRaven Clark, that's just going to be a depth tackle. Nothing crazy. He shouldn't see the field, but if you need a little depth in a pinch, not a bad tackle to sign. Nate Herbig. So when we initially signed Nate Herbig, we thought he was going to end up being the guy that was going to play guard for us and start to push Kevin Dotson a little bit in the ass. But then we also signed Isaac Somalo. So you're looking at Isaac Somalo is going to end up starting. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. 100%. It makes you wonder what is going on with James Daniels then, because if Mason Cole is going to be your center and you have James Daniel as your right guard and your left guard is going to be Somalo, then Nate Herbig is your backup. I mean, what's going on with now we have Kevin Dotson. So, I mean, the Steelers definitely beefed up the line no matter what. There's no way we thought we were going through the offseason or the regular season again without an injury at the line. But it's kind of crazy they brought in all these guards. So either they don't really love what they get out of Kevin Dotson, they want to light a fire under his ass, or they're really realizing, look, we are going to pound the shit out of this football this year, and we're going to need healthy linemen to do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, last season, that'll be a season that'll probably never happen again where the whole starting line,
it's like 1 in 100, 1 in 100 shit.
Yeah. It seems like they're set at center. I don't see them drafting a center really. I don't know, man. I would have liked, honestly, possibly another guy in the secondary. I know it sounds a little crazy, but I'm happy with what the offense did this offseason. But for me, I would have liked to see, another safety or nickel guy. But I mean, we locked up what's his name,
Keanu Neal.
Yep. They played together, him and Casey. So I'm happy there.
Yeah, Keanu Neal is. I think Keanu Neal is going to be more of your strong safety, and it came out. Jerry Dulac came out and said he won't be the strong safety, and I'm like, I just don't know how he won't. I don't know how. I mean, I don't. Who's going to play that spot unless we're going to go?
He might play like. Is he going to play linebacker? No.
I mean, I don't see how. Maybe he's going to be dimebacker. I mean, he would be more of the dimebacker, the Terrell Edmonds type of player. And if that's the case, then that tells me that they're going to run Minka, Casey, and then bring Neal in for those three safety sets.
I'm still not really over that, to be honest with you.
Losing Edmonds.
Yeah, I mean, he just signed a super cheap deal.
Yeah, he just wanted to change his scenery. That's the only thing I can think of, because the Steelers, I guess, offered him similar money, is what we hear. But he must have just wanted a change of scenery. It didn't make a ton of sense to me that he didn't come back. But let's look at it this way: the guy's just not a fucking playmaker. He's a reliable, solid football player, no doubt about it. But he doesn't force fumbles. He doesn't come up with fumble recoveries, and he doesn't get interceptions. And in a defense that if we don't get our front seven to the quarterback, at least intercept the ball. That's the reason I was so hurt to see Sutton walk, is because he at least had the hands to do it.
Yeah, he did. But, Pat Pete, it's another great addition, I think. Not expensive, veteran. So I think he's going to not only help the defense, I think he's going to help Kenny out a lot too.
So Pat Peterson is, I was initially not that excited about it because I'm like, look, the guy's fucking old, man. And that is a position where you don't want to have old guys out there. Like that's a position you want young men. And that's why I'm like, look, if we could have had Cam Sutton or Pat Pete, I mean, I would give me Sutton because the next 3 years, you know that Sutton's only going to continue to rise or stay about the same, whereas Pat Pete is going to eventually fall off. That's just how that goes. No disrespect to Pat Pete. He is one of the best cornerbacks in the history of football, no doubt about it. But I've come around to the idea, though. It's not 1980 anymore where guys fall off a cliff in their early 30s. So if we can get a couple of really good, reliable years out of him, like we did with Joe Hayden, the thing about this is this will lead us into. I really think we still have to go cornerback with one of the first 2 picks. There's no way I can see us not going cornerback with one of the first 2 picks.
No, they will.
They have to. And if you have a guy like that that can mentor a young cornerback, that's just a bonus.
Yeah. I think what they're going to do is this. I think they're going to wait till 32 to draft the cornerback.
Right.
I think they're going to grab a lineman early.
Tackle.
And I'm starting to lean a little bit towards offensive line. I'm starting to lean towards tackle.
Yeah.
There's been the rumors about what's his face trading up for Carter.
Yep.
On the D line, but
Jalen Carter.
I don't think they're going to do that.
To me, that just seems like a lot. And I'm against, just on the record, I am against the idea of the Steelers trading up and giving up draft capital this year because we finally are in a position where we have picks 17, 32, 49. You can get 3 of the top 49 players in this draft. I don't want to trade it for just one guy. Like I hate that. I hate that logic of just trading away, 3 that could end up being very good football players for one very good football player.
Well, no, you know what they'll do is if they were to trade Carter, they would swap this year's first rounder.
Agreed. And
then give up a first rounder next year.
More than likely, or the 32nd pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't love that. In an ideal world for me, Jerry, we would go tackle with that first pick. And if Paris Johnson fell, that would be fucking incredible. I don't think he will, but if he did, that would be incredible. Skaronski's, probably not going to be there.
The Georgia guy might be there.
Yeah. Broderick Jones.
Yeah,
he could be there, which I would be totally fine with. Another thing that we need to remember is Chucks is the right tackle, okay? And Chucks, I think, only has 1 more year left on his deal. He might have 2, but regardless, I don't love what we get out of Chucks. He's reliable. He's not elite.
Paid person on the Steelers, I think.
What's that?
He's like the 5th highest paid person on the Steelers.
He is. He makes $9 million a season. I don't love that. So you're talking about if we could get possibly DeJuan Jones, the other Ohio State tackle, with the 32nd pick, I would be totally fucking fine. I just want to make sure that we start to get our tackle situation under control during this draft. Dan Moore is not the ideal left tackle. He is serviceable. He would be a really good backup left tackle, especially the experience he has now the last 2 years. But I think if you can go out and you can get a real fucking earth moving dog at left tackle,
you need it.
That line is going to be pretty decent then.
Yeah, you need it because, listen, I'm all in on the Steelers going to the playoffs this year. I don't see a chance where they don't go to the playoffs.
We're getting in the playoffs.
And, when it comes time to the playoffs, the defensive line and offensive line, they win games, man. And the pass rush, you need to be able to sustain a pass rush in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So you don't want a guy like Dan Moore being that guy in the playoffs, against, you look all over the NFL. The defensive ends are very good.
Dogs.
All over the place, all over. On any team.
Yep.
Most of them are really, really good, man. So, you need to be able to have a tackle that can hunker down and save some sacks.
And I think that we can't gloss over the fact that defensive line is also still going to be a need. So some guys that we could consider would be like Brian Breesy. He could be there for the Steelers with that 17th pick. I know it's not a very sexy pick, but he could be a guy that they end up taking, no doubt about it. And he's a monster. He's an earth mover. He reminds me a lot of Cam, to be honest with you. Just an insane motor. He's
Smaller
strong.
though.
He's a little bit smaller than Cam would be, yeah. But he's a strong boy. But all that tells me is you can fill out. He has time to fill out. You know what I mean? When Cam came out, he also wasn't massive, so he filled out a bit too.
Yeah.
So if you get another guy like that, that's pretty big. Now, something that we need to consider is, though, Jerry, you mentioned the pass rush. We can't go through another season where we don't have a legitimate third pass rusher. Like we can't do it. That's why missing out on Bud was interesting to me, that, he ended up, he was pushing the Steelers for a 1-year deal, and the Steelers like to offer those guys a 2-year contract. And he ended up taking the 1-year deal with the Falcons. But
why is that though? Why did he want a 1-year deal?
I have no idea, unless he thought he would have a great year this season, bounce back year.
That's
and then
the thing. He's probably trying to bet on himself,
he could get paid. Yeah, because the Steelers don't like to do that. If they can lock you in for 2 at that point in your career, they know they're getting the better end of that deal. They're not, that's good business on their half, not giving him the 1-year deal if they could lock them in for the 2. But, I think we are going to end up looking at an edge rusher that's decent. And you say we might sign someone else. I would say we signed an edge rusher, but there's nobody out there that I'm like, wow, fucking A, we got a great, third edge rusher.
They might even grab that kid from Iowa in the first round.
The
Luke Van Ness.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's a decent ball player, and knowing that we have it's not even for me just the third edge rusher that concerns me.
Oh,
if you guys aren't watching the YouTube,
I'm done with the seeds, dude. That one got caught my throat.
If you guys aren't watching the YouTube and you're just listening, Jerry was basically just a machine gun with sunflower seeds just fucking lodged in his throat, firing out into his cup.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dude, that was fucked up.
Yeah, I thought we lost you for a second. I mean, getting back to it though, probably. we're gonna need an edge rusher. No way around it, because Highsmith is gonna get paid, and if we can't pay him, say he has a crazy year this year, and we don't lock him down, and we can't afford him next year. Then we're really fucked. Then who is our pass rusher, at that point? So I think edge rusher is going to be one of those positions the Steelers are going to end up looking at much sooner than maybe we're looking at currently, glossing over it.
Maybe they're thinking about they're just going to go take him first.
Which is possible. Which to me would be crazy, because this year alone, I would like to get a guy that you can immediately plug in at a position that we need him to start.
Yeah.
And to take, edge rusher with your first pick would be just a wild move, because we don't need him to start right now. And if the Steelers think that they're close enough that a good draft can get us, right in there with the realm of the Chiefs and the Bills and the Bengals, then I wouldn't see them doing that immediately. Ideally, one would fall to us in the second round, one of those second 2 picks. But round 1, I think we're in agreement. If we can go offensive line or defensive line, I'm fine with it. The cornerback thing is interesting. Everyone was saying the Steelers might move up for a guy like Christian Gonzalez, things of that nature. I just don't.
I think he's gonna fall.
Here's what's funny.
I think you're gonna see Witherspoon. Yeah, I think you're gonna see Witherspoon, Porter, and I think Gonzalez will fall to 32.
So at the beginning of everything that's come out about the draft, Christian Gonzalez would have been like the 5th or 6th ranked, cornerback at the beginning of the draft process. And now somehow he's jumped up to being possibly the number 1 or number 2. I think a lot of people forget about what you see on film and in football games versus what you see at the combine and in the gym. And people are enamored by what you see in the gym and in the combine. But at the end of the day, in college, how did the guy perform between the whistles? That's what, I think it's like last year, Malik Willis, everyone said, oh my God, this guy's he might be the number 1 quarterback taken, and he falls to the 3rd round. So, I mean, he was a disaster. Trash, terrible, awful. They're already saying they're going to look at moving on from him. So that's why I would keep it within the realm of possibility. I just don't think I don't think he'll be the first cornerback taken. I think Witherspoon is probably the best cornerback. I would agree with you. I would put him at 3, Joey Porter Jr., if he's there and the tackles aren't there and Pittsburgh didn't trade up, I think Joey Porter Jr.
How
could
do
be
the Steelers not take Porter if he's there? How don't you take him? You've seen the Steelers do it over and over again, man. They love the history. They love the brothers. It's just, hey, if they take Porter, if he's there, I can't see how they pass him up.
Exactly. That's going to be for me. If he's sitting there and the tackles are gone, unless there's like, unless there's an elite defensive lineman left. Like I would take Breesy over, I would take Joey Porter Jr. though. I'll tell you that. I would take Breesy over Joey Porter Jr. But if Joey Porter Jr. is there, Breesy's gone, you're not going to get one of the elite tackles. I think he could be the guy. All signs to me tell me that he falls in that realm too. Like he's going to be, in that ballpark of cornerbacks that get selected. I don't think it's a reach to take him at 17 by any standard. So I wouldn't mind him. I'll tell you that. I like Joey Porter Jr. Obviously Penn State guy.
I wouldn't mind either. I mean, listen, I wouldn't mind either. I don't watch much college football, so I can't really tell you the ins and outs of all these players and whatnot. I know what the Steelers need, and they definitely need a cornerback. That's for sure.
No doubt.
I don't care where they get him, as long as they get him within the first, the 17th pick or the 32nd. I don't care. I just want a cornerback at least,
So then let's look at we'll do the first 4 picks that we have: round 1, 2, round 2, and then round 3. So you get to make 4 selections at any position, not naming a player, just positionally. Yeah. What are the four needs that we need, Jerry?
So first round, I want to go. My preference would be tackle. First round.
Okay, Jerry's taking a tackle at pick 17. At pick 32, what is Jerry taking?
Cornerback.
Corner at 32. What's Jerry taking at 49?
Wide receiver.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I just don't know that this is a great wide receiver draft. And if you're going to do it, I'd rather go later than that. That's interesting, Jerry.
The thing is,
GM Jerry?
The Steelers find diamonds, man. They find diamonds.
Oh, they absolutely do.
They never find the diamonds in the first round. They sometimes don't find the diamonds in the second round. Sometimes they find the diamonds in the 3rd, 5th round, 6th round. They just find diamonds, dude. So I would like a wide receiver as my 3rd pick, and 4th, I'll take a D lineman.
Okay, so Jerry is taking D line with his 4th pick. So Jerry went tackle at 17, corner at 32, wide receiver, shockingly, at 49. And at the 80th pick, Jerry's taking a defensive lineman. So for me, it would break down as it's either going to be defensive line for me, or it's going to be offensive tackle in that first round. And as much as we signed Braden Fehoko, who we had interviewed last week, great fucking dude, by the way. What great guy. Loved that interview. I enjoyed the shit out of that interview, man.
Yeah, he was great.
I still think that the Steelers need a defensive lineman, an elite defensive lineman. And here's why. You got to look at the future too. We need it right now. We need one this season. We cannot go through another season and get hurt at that position and just be gouged up the middle of the field. And then the linebackers look like shit again because they can't get off blocks because the offensive line is getting to the second level. So I think the Steelers are gonna put in their first 2 picks, they're taking a defensive lineman. I think they're taking an offensive lineman in the first 2 picks. So interchangeably, offensive line and defensive line in the first 2 picks. I think cornerback might be the 3rd thing that they select because Pat Pete is going to be there. I don't know that they're going to push for a cornerback that early. Knowing that you need a left tackle, knowing that you need defensive linemen. So cornerback, and then in round 4 is when I would go, more at the wide receiver. I would look more at wide receiver, possibly safety. I'll tell you this, you say the Steelers find wide receivers in late rounds. There's another player out of Penn State, Parker Washington. The kid has some of the best hands in college football. He didn't have an insanely good season this past year. This would be my one guy.
That's because Penn State always has shitty quarterbacks.
That's exactly why Clifford blows. So, well, this year, Jerry, you'll see they have Drew Aller, and they might actually make a run at it. Good. Fucking elite this year. They might actually make a run at it. So, but I think if you were going to get a guy in a late round that you could plug into a slot, it would be a Parker Washington. I think he's an elite football player. He's going to have a great NFL career. I'll say that right out of the gates. He's got insanely good hands. He's twitchy. You can put him in the slot. He would be everything that you would need moving forward. So that would be my one guy. So you're looking at college. Pick me one guy you would love to see, whether he falls or they have to go up for him. Who's your guy?
Man, here's my thing. And I know people will probably say this is stupid and Steelers shouldn't do it. They just got Robinson. If Zay Flowers is there, you better take him.
Yeah.
You better take him. Because that guy could eventually be a very, very, very good wide receiver. So, listen, you never know what's going to happen, man. I mean, dude, honestly, like, I know the Steelers really don't do this often, and they don't really take receivers really early. But for them, they seen what they got taking a receiver somewhat early last year with Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he turned out to be pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's pretty good. I mean, he led the NFL in, I think, possession catches. He's a deep ball threat. He has excellent, excellent feet. Not the best route runner, but excellent feet. Knows where the sidelines are. Great hands. But it really wouldn't shock me, man, if you seen the Steelers do something weird and take a receiver with that 32nd pick or 17th pick. Listen, if Zay Flowers is there, I say you go get him. Addison, I'm not sold on, per se.
That's Kenny's boy.
But that's Kenny's boy. So listen, you just don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. Listen, I know we have what of inside sources, let's say.
That's why I'm smiling, because there are things that I want to say to you guys and some of the conversations that we know. It's tough.
But let's just say this. I'll say this. I don't think the Steelers will draft receiver or in the first round. I don't. And I don't think that's going to happen. Even if Addison is there, right. Even if Zay Flowers is there. But I would love it.
Right. Let's just say we're like, gun to my head, I'm saying no chance it's wide receiver. I will say this, because I can say this. So I'm a member at a country club called Shanapin. It's nearby here. And one of the members there is a senior scout for the Steelers. I won't use his name, but a little bit of conversation that had come forward was that the Steelers really do like lineman John Michael Schmitz. He's the center out of Minnesota. They brought him in. He was one of the first guys that they brought in. So don't be shocked if you end up seeing him go in with that 32nd pick, just because I've heard he's very, very highly sought after. The Steelers love this kid. And, we do have Mason Cole at center, but if the Steelers are looking for their next center of the future, I wouldn't be shocked to see him get there. So that's just another name to keep out there. But we're not going to go too deep into this. Jerry and I are not fucking draft analysts. It's one of the things that I lay low on Twitter. I don't talk about it publicly a ton, because to me, there's just so many things that have to happen to get even one of your picks right. It's just not worth me spending hours of my time looking into it.
Because guys come off the board when they're not supposed to.
Right.
Crazy stuff happens. Trades happen. Quarterbacks that you think should drop to the 4th round get drafted in the 1st.
Right.
Like, it's just not worth my time to really go over and look at it, per se. But, hey, man, anything could happen. Like I said, I think this is going to be a successful draft. They finally have an opportunity with a couple picks in the top 50.
Yep.
They have 3 in the top 50, which is pretty big.
That's huge.
They can make some decent things happen, man. I'm just hoping for one of those splash moves that, like, you say to yourself, wow, I mean, this guy could end up really flourishing in this system. Hey, maybe it's Zay Flowers, maybe it's not. We'll see.
Nah, the Zay Flowers thing gets my fucking blood going, though. And, like, I will say this, Kenny does like Zay Flowers. I don't think he would even mind us saying that. He likes Zay Flowers.
Well, I think everybody that listens to podcasts and knows football, like, will say this. You don't think a quarterback wants another weapon? Right. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, like, what do you think Pat Mahomes wants in the draft? Obviously, he wants a receiver or a tight end or a running back. Like, they want weapons. Obviously, right. Any quarterback is going to want weapons. So, I mean, I don't care. I'll say, obviously, Kenny wants weapons. Right. What quarterback wouldn't want weapons? You know what I mean?
Agreed. And I think this is why I don't read too much into the mock draft based on team needs, because look what the Bengals did a few years ago, and it paid dividends. No fucking doubt about it. It paid dividends. They needed linemen real bad. Burrow has the fucking torn knee up. They needed offensive linemen. They have, I think, pick 5, whatever it was. They should have gotten an offensive lineman, and they take Jamar Chase. So
Yeah.
The league is it's however they see it, and it worked out for them to have T. Higgins, to have Tyler Boyd, and to have Jamar Chase. The Bengals are hard to fucking beat simply because of that, even with a hodgepodge line.
Who is saying right now the Steelers are just going to leave Pat Pete and Levi Wallace out there?
Right.
They could do that.
Right. No doubt about it.
They could do that. They don't need to draft a cornerback if they say to themselves, fuck it, we got Pat Pete, we still got Levi Wallace, we got secondary help with Minka, Neal, Casey. We're not taking a cornerback. Let's go for some.
And we have Dan Moore Jr., who's played 2 seasons. This is his 3rd year. He's shown steady improvement. Why don't we roll him back out there at left tackle?
Exactly, man. So, hey, one thing I learned, though, about the Steelers is this. Sometimes they put little things out there on purpose to deflect.
Smoke screens.
So I don't really read too much into who sees what at the pro day, who goes where. They're looking at this guy. You heard Kenny say to himself, like, he didn't think he was going to go to Pittsburgh.
No.
I mean, they didn't really show much interest in him. You know what I mean?
And that's because I don't think
but that's just the way they do business.
Right, exactly. The Steelers, the nice thing that we've done, though, so far through free agency is that they've put themselves in a position to where we can have this conversation where what do we really need? Like, it's not, we don't have to be handcuffed. A few years ago, we were handcuffed to the Artie Burns pick. We were handcuffed to Terrell Edmonds because we needed those fucking players. No doubt about it. Those guys had to come play. So we kind of reached a little bit on both of those guys, and it didn't work out for us. Everything they've done this year, just plugging holes. Pause. Is that it's pretty incredible. We can go into this draft and take best available again. They can get back to the best available.
Yeah. Listen. I'll say this: if the Steelers went out in a couple months with the roster they have now, they can go to the playoffs.
Agreed. I mean, that's not even a hot take, because look at what they did last year with Kenny. They were half a game away from getting in with Kenny having no training camp reps. Hodgepodge, thrown in, thrown out. Offensive coordinator was terrible. Offensive line was figuring it out early in the year. We lost TJ for 10 games, and they still clawed their fucking way right into that spot. Like, on paper, the Pittsburgh Steelers are a better football team today than they were 6 months ago. No 100%, doubt about 100%. It in my mind, better team.
That's why this draft, you know what I'm going to do? This draft, I'm not even going to over-exaggerate over like, oh, this pick wasn't that good, I didn't like it, or what. I'm not doing any of that because I like where the team's at. I like where they're heading. One thing I'll say is I just want to have a fun draft. Whoever gets picked up, we'll see what happens.
Amen.
That's all.
Speaking of fun draft, we'll let everyone know. So Jerry and I are doing a draft watch party. You guys are all welcome to join us. We're going to do it on YouTube Live. So we'll have the ability. It'll be Jerry and I, and then you guys can all come in. You can ask us questions. It's like we're all watching the draft together. We can talk.
Yeah, we have like a live chat. Yep. So the chat, chat boys will be in there, so that'll be pretty cool. You know what I mean? We'll be giving away some memorabilia thanks to TSE, Total Sports Enterprise. We got some jerseys, we got some mini helmets, we got some collectibles and stuff like that. Full-size autograph helmets from current Steelers, former Steelers. I know Pickens is a name in there. I know Kenny is a name in there. I think Joe Green is a name in there.
Yeah, Woodley. So we'll read them to you. So just to let you guys know, so we've signed a couple of agreements for sponsorship this year, which is going to be nice for the podcast. So we've partnered with Total Sports Enterprise, and you guys should check them out. They have a ton of Steelers memorabilia. They're one of the leaders in memorabilia as far as the Steelers are concerned. So Total Sports Enterprise, you'll have to check them out. They've partnered with us, so they're going to be sending us stuff all season. We can give you guys away a ton of signed memorabilia. So Pickens jersey, Woodley jersey, Hines jersey, Minka helmet, Rocky Blyer helmet, Jack Ham helmet, Ike Taylor helmet. I mean, they are sending us a lot of stuff. So throughout the entire draft night, we're just gonna pick winners. Send that stuff out to you guys. You guys will enjoy that. And then another company we partnered with is Zeds. If you guys are familiar in the South Side, Zeds Vintage Clothing. So we've agreed to partner with them. So those are a couple of things that are looking good on the podcast end of things for us. So things are moving in the right direction as far as that stuff is concerned. But yeah, absolutely. The next Thursday, we encourage you guys, stop into the YouTube, hang out with us for a while. It's going to be a blast. We'll make sure we tweet about it here a bit leading up to it, so you guys have all the information. But yeah, anything else you want to add at this point, Jer?
That's it, man. Just looking forward to seeing you guys on draft night. I think it'll be a fun night. I think we're giving away like 7 items, so within the first round, it'll be pretty cool. Hey, question: the 32nd pick, we're not going to see that till the second round, right?
Correct. It will be the first team that drafts the second day. Yeah,
gotcha.
That's definitely a second rounder. I know. I just get it over with. I'd rather go to bed that night knowing, for sure.
I know. What are you going to do?
Well, hey, we appreciate the shit out of you guys. Like, follow. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube, subscribe to Jersey Jerry's channel. It's growing pretty quickly at this point, so we appreciate you guys for doing that. Like it, comment on the post. Tell us who you guys want to see drafted. I'll tell you this, we'll save one of the items that we have. If you can get the first pick right in the comments, we'll automatically send one of the winners one of those. So
yeah.
We'll send one of the memorabilia out for that. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you again here next week. We aren't going to have an episode before the draft. We'll do the live stream, and then we'll do a reactions here a couple of days after we've had the complete draft, breaking down everything that we have from there. So we appreciate you guys making it this far. We'll see you again here next week.
We're here. We're still here.
We are still here.